I talk a lot about the open hand disposition, representing the divine, representing the body-mind that embraces all and all, representing that body-mind which is lived by God, by the divine. The open hand embraces all and all. There is no separation. So when you're looking at your hand, there's no separate you from the hand. When you're looking at the garbage, there's no separate you looking at the garbage. When you pick up a piece of the garbage, there is no separate you. When you eat, when you talk, when you think, when you act, there's always a feeling of separation. Is that correct? There's you and it. There's you and them. There's you and the cat. There's you and the garbage. There's you and the books. There's you and the words. There's you and the video. There's you and the film. There's you and the cleaning. There's you and the washing up. There's you with your intimate. There's always a separate you. This is never separate. The separate you is always feeling alienated, always wanting something from the other, wanting something from the thing. The separate you is never happy, never really happy. The separate you is always looking for something, seeking an answer. This is never ever separate. This disposition is always one of embracement. How can you live like this all of the time? Why live like this? Thinking. Full of structures. It's the mummery of life. To live as God intends is to allow God, the divine, to live the body-mind without any interruption, without any strangulation, without any interference. I am a practitioner. I am a devotee of turning away from this to this. This is ugly. I see it for what it is. It never takes responsibility. It's always wanting someone else to take responsibility. It's always blaming the other or the thing for not being happy. Whereas this activity isn't necessary. This activity is unhappiness. This is the best analogy I can use. This is ego, this is the divine. The body-mind is simply a vehicle. It doesn't have to be lived with this interference, this strangulation. The body-mind is already being lived by the divine. That's what there is to realize. You cannot make water wet. Water is already wet. Can you imagine making water wet? You can make this cloth wet because it's not already wet. The sponge, which is already wet, will absorb more water, or becomes the cloth that's already damp becomes wetter. But what's already the case? The body-mind is already the divine. This gets in the way. This deludes us, confuses us. It makes us believe that we are separate from God. And we go and pray, Lord, oh Lord, Lord. We are not separate from God. We are God, whatever that is. The body-mind isn't God. It's being lived by God. However, all that is God. Because all there is light. One religion hasn't got the monopoly over another religion. Apparently it has. This can only ever be in competition with this. It also tries to be in competition with God, the divine. The divine is already the case. This creates itself. This creates the feeling of separateness. It's not necessary. It's not real happiness. And I practice turning to happiness, turning to joy and intimacy. I turn all day long from this to this. The body-mind is full of patterns created by this self-contraction. Those patterns are egoic patterns, tendencies, strategies, which are not necessary. Abide as this. Embrace all and all. Be ecstatic. You know, you're not allowed to be happy, really, unless you deserve it, unless you earned it. You get the tick from the teacher when you deserve, then you feel happy because you got a good mark. That's society for you. Doctors are meant to be the ultimate in society, the ultimate person to tell you whether you're ill, tell you what you're wrong, what's wrong with you. They've got that knowledge that you pay £200, £300 for if you are private per hour. Look at the solicitors charging all that money, vast amounts of money, £20 a minute, £10 a minute, whatever. Knowledge. This is always wanting to win. Knowledge is trying to get more and more understanding of the ways of the world so that it can win, be on top. The body-mind will never ever be of perfect health. Never. It's just the nature, it's just how it is. It's a condition like all conditions. Bones, wear and tear. The wear and tear of the body is as it is. But we can do our best to keep it in good health. Just as after I've emptied this garbage, I'll clean it. I say I. It's not this I. I is the body is God. This is the divine. The expression of the divine. The divine lives our hands, lives our body mind. That's what there is to realize. And we're adding the self-contraction. We don't need to add the self-contraction. No ego can practice love, true love. No clenched fist disposition can be truly happy. So I live for this happiness, for this joy, for this delight. I practice turning away from this nonsense. I've taken on that responsibility and surrender to God, to the divine, throughout the day, every day. And it's sheer happiness and joy, ecstasy. My mother didn't know how to cope with me when I was so happy. I can't manage you. See, this wants to always be in control, even of happiness. I hold up my hands and I bow down to that, which is, already is, happiness, joy, delight. I turn away from this nonsense. The open hand embraces, it's already intimate. Thank you for listening.